We're broadcasting from the Bullpen 2024 during Bio Week 2024. And with me now, it's my pleasure to welcome Rafael Rosengarten. He is from Genialis and is one of the founders of the Alliance for AI in Healthcare, one of our sponsors for today. Welcome.
Thank you, James. Thanks for having me.
Well, I have 3 questions for you today.
Let's go.
May or may not be subparts, who knows? It depends how confused I want to make you. But first of all, what I want to ask is for you to tell us a little bit about your background, about yourself, and how you got to the Bullpen as part of that as well.
All right, let's see. I'm going to tell this story sort of in reverse, I think.
I love it.
So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Genialis, and we're a precision oncology company. We build AI models, and we've been doing it since before AI was cool. And as you mentioned, I'm a co-founder of the Alliance for AI in Healthcare, which is already 5.5 years ago, if you can believe it.
That's crazy.
So before everyone was tacking a .ai onto the URL, we were already doing that. But I consider myself an accidental entrepreneur, or maybe another way to say it is a professional dilettante. So I was always interested in lots of stuff. I have lots of hobbies, lots of things catch my eye, but I didn't have what it took as a life scientist to be a great academic scientist. Like I didn't have that bulldog tenacity to latch onto one problem and shake my head for 20 years until I was the world expert on that one problem. Instead, I was like, oh, that's bright and shiny. I'm gonna go study that for 2 years, and I'm gonna go study that for 2 years. Seriously, my thesis at Yale in molecular biology had 3 different model organisms, 3 different questions. It was sort of let me staple them together and see if it flies. But yeah, so I founded Genialis with my co-founders in 2015 in Houston, Texas. I had got there by way of the Bay Area where I'd done some synthetic biology. Before that, I was this sort of marine biologist turned molecular biologist at Yale. And before that, I thought I was going to be a professional cook and spend a bunch of time in restaurant kitchens until I realized there was no sunlight, no weekends, no nights, no holidays.
Well, just like AI, there's a lot of math and computing involved in cooking.
There certainly
can
be. And this was actually back in the early aughts when molecular gastronomy was having its day, right? So you had all the chefs in Spain who were turning things into foam and deconstructing stuff. So that was super fancy and cool and exciting in New York. But I kind of just like eating the way that people do in Provence. It's like, here's a really delicious head of lettuce and
have it.
So yeah, exactly. Anyway, so that's the long version. That takes us back, 25 years of, knife and line cook to landing into an entrepreneurial situation, just wanting to do science, but do it in a different way.
And how did you find the Bullpen? How'd you get here?
Oh, right. So that was the first part of
it. It was
the
a multi-part question.
Right,
it was confusing. I'm sorry.
I think I got here thanks to you, to be honest. It's through the Alliance for AI in Healthcare. JP Morgan this past January, the AAH and the Bullpen also did some co-sponsorship. And I was working a different beat, so I didn't really get to leave Union Square, but I heard it was pretty cool. And, the mission of the Bullpen, as far as I understand, is just to create networking opportunities for people to help each other, and people, specifically investors, but C-suite, startup executives. And, that's a useful thing. It's nice to be in an environment where no one's selling stuff. You're just introducing yourself, trying to find synergies, trying to find shared interests. And, we're a venture-backed company. I will be fundraising again in a matter of months. And so it seemed like an opportune time to start networking in this space.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit more about Genialis and what do you do?
Yeah, so again, Genialis is the RNA biomarker company. So we work in precision oncology. Our products are machine learning algorithms that we've trained to predict from a patient's cancer sample, or tumor sample, what is the drug that's going to work best for them. And we can kind of do this in 2 ways. We can either start from the question of, here's a patient with cancer, and here's the world of drugs, what should they get? But if we're working with a pharma company that's developing a specific drug, we can then say, what's the world of patients that are right for that drug? So we can kind of do it through the lens of the patient and healthcare provider, or through the lens of the drug developer or diagnostics company. Really, what we do has value up and down the chain for healthcare. If you believe that healthcare should be predicated on delivering better outcomes for patients and their families and their communities, which we do, which means not only finding drugs that are going to help, but not burdening people, making them sicker with drugs that aren't going to help, that are going to cost $250,000 a year and make them sicker, then we need a better way of pinpointing the relationship between the disease and the right therapy. And we think we've cracked some hard nuts in that space.
So you're really amplifying precision medicine in a way. You're making it better, faster, more precise.
That's right. The idea is that, we're doing this in 5 years or 10 years. We're not going to call it precision medicine. It's just medicine, but it'll be precise then, right? So that is the sea change that we're trying to help foment. The idea that we need to shift everyone's mentality to really, how can we make the patient outcome the center of what we do? And I think the way we do that is with smart data collection and smart algorithms that can analyze that data.
Well, that's a great goal. And as you know, the Bullpen's mantra is basically to see people, to find out how you can help, to help them and repeat. So how can the members of the Bullpen help you?
That's a great question. The very, again, transactional ones, like we're going to need money to, to fuel our business, to make sure that we can scale our tech and reach the patients and their doctors and the drug developers. But, just from an investor standpoint, if this is a space that's interesting to you, I'd love to meet and talk more and kind of, expand our overlapping networks. But in a bigger sense, we need people to help us catch the wind at our backs. We need to push the industry in this direction. And there's some misalignment of incentives. I mean, without naming names, there's some big multi-billion-dollar franchise drugs out there in the cancer space that don't work for that many people. They work for about a quarter of the patients they're given to. And there was a decision that somebody made that's like, we can make a lot more money if we just give this to everyone, irrespective of the outcome.
Right.
So we need to put pressure from, I think, the top down, from the government, but also from insurance companies, from hospital systems, to make sure that, if there's a biomarker available, that biomarker gets co-labeled with the drug, and drugs.
So it's the right medicine for the right people.
That's right. We're casting a pretty big tent. That's the kind of work that I really value doing through the Alliance for AI in Healthcare, right? The connections we have with regulatory bodies, with policymakers, with standards developers, to start thinking about, what really needs to be the standard of care. That's the long goal, right? That's got to be the long game. In the meantime, we can deliver value to drug companies, to diagnostics companies. We can help them make sure their products get to market, can be not just first in class, but best in class in a drug class, or for a diagnostics company to have the first test on the market for a new kind of therapeutic, or for disease areas that we haven't been able to treat before.
So that is great for Genialis, and you're also here as part of a sponsor,
right,
with the Alliance for AI in Healthcare. Do you have any asks for the AIH? I should have asked that as well.
Yeah, no, another really good question. So again, the Alliance for AI in Healthcare is this wonderful members organization. We tell people about it a little bit. It's a members organization. It's a not-for-profit global advocacy organization. We've been pushing for the responsible adoption. I'm going to double underscore the word responsible adoption of AI in healthcare. And we've been doing this for a while. And one of the interesting changes that I've noticed in 2019, 2020, 2021, every conference panel on AI, the topic was, is it all hype? Is it all hype? And our job then was to get people to believe, no, this is substantive, right? There are all these companies that are doing really, really good science centered around AI technologies to improve healthcare. Then ChatGPT comes, and everyone knows the word AI now. But now the question is no longer, is it hype? It's, holy shit, AI is real and it's come to kill us, right? So now we have to tamp it down from the other side and really focus on that. No, there are guardrails in place, right? The FDA has really good regulatory mechanisms. They're thoughtful, smart, curious, well-meaning scientists and legal professionals at the FDA at wanting to get this right. And I think how Bullpen could help the Alliance. First of all, any companies that are members of the Bullpen or just hanging out that use AI should become a member of the Alliance for AI in Healthcare. And not just companies. You represent a university and academic system, hospitals, law firms, anyone who's interested in this space of policy, data, standards. Again, the biggest value proposition, why you should belong to the AIH, is you get to do more work. But it's the right work. But you get to do the work to build the industry that you want to see, to build the kind of healthcare system that you think we should have. That's why I do it anyway.
Well, then I guess my last question for you is, if people want to join the AIH, how can they do so?
Email Elaine. So, no, you go to.
She's not here right now, but no, that's true though. Yeah.
Our executive director, Elaine Ham's a brilliant woman. But the easiest way is to go to the website, the AAIH, Alliance for AI in Healthcare.org, and there's a membership form. You just put in your information, and magic happens on the back end, and someone will get in touch with you.
We don't do the magic; someone else does, but we get credit for it. It's great.
The magic happens. I presume Elaine or someone does the magic. But no, go to the website, the AAIH.org. I would also say go to the website if you're just curious, right? If you're not sure. We've got a ton of content on there. That's a big part of what we do is we get experts in the room. We think deeply about problems. We write white papers to educate the market, to educate investors, to educate policymakers. So there's a lot of information there. And I think you'll get a good glimpse to understand sort of what the value is.
Well, Rafael, I want to thank you for taking time talking about Genialis, talking about the Alliance for AI in Healthcare. I think you gave a lot of information to folks that maybe they didn't know before.
I hope so. I hope so. And if you want to learn more, if you want to continue the conversation with me, the easiest way is LinkedIn. I'm on that website way more than I wish I could be. Or just send me an email, Rafael@genialis.com. I'd be happy to talk more about it.
All right. Thanks so much once again.
Thanks, James.